as I was thinking about content to talk about for tonight, I was looking into my recruitment policy prior to the pandemic. And one of the requirements that we have is that our employee must be able to drive a car. And this is referring to our education, our online marketing business. Our employee must be able to drive a car because I've had experiences where my employees are always late for meeting because they were being delayed by public transport. They couldn't make it, or they couldn't run an errand, or for example, let's say we needed this person to go to this place to go take some pictures or film some videos, couldn't make it because maybe something wrong with the train, something wrong with the bus, and there's always going to be issues. I think work is always slower. So prior to the pandemic, we had a policy where you got to have your own car. You got to be able to drive, right? Because if you are just relying on public transport, I don't think that's reliable. And I'm not talking about people in sales here. These are not sales or recruitment position. These are just like we're talking about office position, creative positions, right? Like, what are your thoughts in terms of like these particular positions? We're not talking sales. We're not talking about business development, not recruitment. We're talking about in-office work. Do you think buying a car would be a wealth creation tool, a sales creation tool, or a career progression tool?
So you're saying if I work in office, I don't need to do sales, is it? Or
Yeah, yeah. Maybe creative. Let's say web designer. How about that? Web designer that sits in the office and design websites.
okay, Sean, you will share your thoughts first.
To me, I'm because I've taken the LRT KTM for a very, very long time. I know they've improved a lot, but there's still no guarantee that it's still not as certain as having a car in the parking lot and I can just drive out, provided flooded lah. So that one who also late lah. But as a web designer, I think it's still good because that opens up your mind in terms of possibilities. You are not restricted physically. Like last time, I'm like typing out, hey, you want to go somewhere, meet some people. I think that's also part of the importance because now without a car, right? Hey, you want to go anywhere? The hurdle is just too high. It just wouldn't incentivize the person to do something lah. So to me, I always believe that having a car, even if it's a small car, right? Even if it's a motorbike, right? As long as it can bring you to that location physically, I think it's good enough. But that opportunity, that possibility really opens up a lot in terms of your career lah.
Yeah, I actually written down on my notes right here. One of the biggest, three opportunities you get from buying car first over home. Number one is the fact that increase your chance of getting hired. So if you get fired or you get pay cuts and you need to switch job, guess what? A car is something that you want on your resume, right? Because with more companies now doing e-commerce, guess who's going to bring products to the warehouse, or from the warehouse to the post office, to the mailbox, right? So all these people don't think about. They always think that, I can take public transport. Dude, you can't carry like 50 boxes of cosmetic products that we needed to ship today, right? So like for me and the clients that I help, I can understand that the employees definitely need to be able to drive. In fact, some of the online e-commerce store, many of them actually are using their personal cars to ship products or to deliver products if it's within a certain, like let's say vicinity. Let's say we only sell to people in Klang Valley region. They'll take their car because it's cheaper than hiring a driver and a shipping company, because the shipping companies are not reliable here in Malaysia, right? So the second thing is, I think it opens up business opportunity. I think in business, sincerity is very important. So let's say we decided to go into business together, and I asked you to come out to let's say John's bar to have a cup of maybe a glass of beer, a pint of beer, and then you're giving me a lot of excuse. I have to take the train is not going to work after 12 o'clock and things like that. Doing business is very difficult, so very limited, especially if you're entrepreneurial. So that's why I believe that it depends on who you are. I think you still can buy a house later if you want to. If you're one of those people that really believe in the fact that, I have my own ability, I'm going to work on my own ability, my own career, so that one day I can buy better houses, right? And in short, and the last one I have is just basically e-commerce. If you want to start a side hustle, a side business, an e-commerce business, you can't always get people to come to collect from your place. That there's additional costs. You want to be able to actually go to the post office and manually, discuss the deals, the shipping labels, and be able to ship these products. So in short, I feel like by buying a car first, I'm not talking about buying like a Porsche for your first one. I'm just talking about a car that's reliable, like a typical Myvi. I think we'll be happy. I'm not a car guy either. For me, I rather own amazing watches and drive no car. I'm a weirdo like that. My basically my watch collections are triple or quadruple the value of cars. But the thing is, it really depends. Like for me, car don't excite me, and I know car excites some people. Some people collect cars. Some people are into cars. So that's very very different position as well. So talking about that, John, anything to add on that point?
I think it really depends on profession, because if let's say if so my perception towards the ownership of car has changed since 2015. So in 2015, I bought another car where, while I bought a new car, I spent more money taking Grab. Okay, back then was Uber and my taxi, and the reason is because sometimes I feel quite lazy to drive. Or let's say you go to certain places, you have to look for parking, okay, and there's no valet parking, and it's pretty troublesome. So there was one point of time where I, although I have a car, but I always take Grab. Okay, it was only until I have a family, then I always have to drive my car already. Yeah. So I think it also depends on profession, because if you ask me, like web designer, do they need a car? I don't see the benefit of having a car for a web designer in terms of helping them in profession, or in terms of business. So to me, it really depends on what kind of profession are you. Yeah, that's my thought.
While
if
we're
you're
at it, guys, if you're on the comments, type in, let me know, buy car first or buy house first. Maybe we're wrong. Just we're looking for someone to just we're hoping that this is going to be a debate, but everyone is on team car right now. This is a little bit disappointing. So if you guys have a reason why house first would be a better option, please type in the comments and we'd like to know. Meanwhile, Sean, I cut you off. I apologize on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so about the web designer, right? Because you don't have a car, then you will need to only settle before the pandemic. Like you will need to only settle for locations where they have public transport. Also, the office that is close to public transport, it will be the top choice for people who don't have a car to work on. But then, whenever people ask you to be OT a little bit, I think web designer only starts working from home lately, right? Like now everybody works from home, so it's okay. But before working from home, right, I seriously cannot understand how people live without a car one, because in architectural term, in town planning term, right, there's this thing called the last mile. And this has been a problem for every countries. So I can only connect you so far, like 100 and 200, 100 or 200 meters away from the place you need to be. That's it. So Grab, when Grab came, it solved that indirectly, but it's still very, very costly to the normal people. And that's why a lot of people still stick to cars, because it's just cheaper to own a car than to take Grab all the time. And now a lot of people think that taking Grab is actually saving money. Taking Grab is for the rich now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you look at it, right, the same trip, so that's my thought as well. So especially in Malaysia, where the last mile is just terrible, a 3 minutes walk is very dreadful for Malaysians. When it's 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, right? Rains, shine.
Goodness, yeah.
I just flew to Penang for a work trip, and because I don't have a car, then I tried to take Grab. There weren't any because it's still locked down. So for a morning meeting, I need to walk 45 minutes.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I walked
So
there.
you're like sweating and all that, like
Yeah. So I
you
changed
already
a little
feel
bit.
horrible. You already feel horrible before that meeting, right? So it's gonna affect you psychologically a little bit.
So whenever I just tell them, hey, so Sean, how you came here? Yeah, I walked 40 minutes, and then a lot of people like, hey, they got car, but there weren't any Grab, because it's a new location that I was filming. So no one actually goes there, so that's the time where I went there on a flight because I want to save the driving time, but you cannot deny the convenience of just having a car right at the doorstep, right? You can go anywhere you want.
And I do believe by having a car, right, you are more productive in the day. You can pack more stuff into your daily diary. Because you can plan, okay, this is going to be a 15 minutes trip. Like when you take the train, I'm not saying train is bad. That train is wonderful. I take the train when I'm in New York. But train is unpredictable, and public transport is unpredictable. There was 1 month we were relying on heavily on Grab. I went through a phase like John too, where I just absolutely hate cars. Well, actually, I still hate driving cars, and I'm just so tired because I need to find parking, and it's just really annoying. And I decided to go like I think like 3 weeks with just Grab. And guess what? It's not as easy as I was expecting, because sometimes you cannot get the car because busy period, busy times, right? I think they call it what, peak hours or something like that. It was horrible, and if it's raining, man, sometimes it's just really really horrible. So that's why I said that I think having your own car gives you that ability to pack more work into your schedule. You can start two businesses instead of one businesses. You can be doing a side hustle, things like that.